All right, we're live. I guess it just picked up that I just started going live on a couple different things. I was like, it's just going. I'm like, okay. I didn't realize that was the case. Anyway, welcome to On Air with Beacon, our Tuesday stream here from Beacon DeFi. I am your host, the DeFi professor, Professor Chris. We also have TVL community leader from our free group, Total Value Locked, Greg, also known as Duck Fart, here on the show. How are you, sir?
Doing great yourself.
Doing well. I have no idea if I'm actually live on retake, so I'm checking that right now. That's not it. Give me 1 second. I'm just trying to get all this going. So what we are doing today is we're going to be talking about finding your next favorite DeFi protocol. And
I'm really excited about this topic.
This is a question we get all the time, right, Greg? It's like the hardest part about building a portfolio is, what do I choose? So Greg, kind of walk me through your process in terms of, how you look for protocols. Like what have been some of your personal things that you go after when it comes to
that? I didn't hear the last part when it comes to just finding a protocol, or?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I personally, I want to know certain things about the protocol. You know what I mean? Like, how are people using it? Obviously, does it have TVL? I want to know things, whether or not the team is doxed or semi-doxed. I want to see if they've been audited. So I know it's safe for me to put my money there. All of those things let me know if it's safe for me to put my money there. Because obviously, regardless, they could be offering a million percent APY or APR, but if it's not safe, I'm not willing to put my money there, because then it's just just a way to get your money, right? So,
Exactly.
How do I do that? First place I usually start is DeFi Llama.
Well, we'll walk into that in a minute.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
No, you're fine. But I just kind of wanted to, just kind of get an idea of what you're looking for specifically. When you're looking for farms. So naturally, making sure that they are safe, making sure that they are, well audited, that type of thing. Good community, right? We're looking for farms specifically on strong blockchains that, in essence, have good TVL, right? We're total value locked. And the reason for that is, we want to make sure that we're in a position where we're putting our money in the best position to make money, like more volume, things like that, right? We also want to be in a spot that's well regarded, what we call the Lindy effect. So when we say that something is Lindy in our space, the Lindy effect is, and I'm paraphrasing here, the idea that the longer something is in existence, the more apt we are to trust it, right? Greg, I think you feel that way when you're just even looking for services. Like if you have something going on with your plumbing, you're more likely to, when you go into the yellow pages, or like how old we are, when you look in when you go to Google that stuff, you're going to look for people who've been in business longer, right? You're more apt to trust them because they've been in business that long. Clearly, they must be doing the right things to keep that in mind, right? So that's what the Lindy effect means. There are quite a few Lindy protocols in DeFi. We can let's start with that. Name some of your favorite Lindy protocols that you see in DeFi overall that you for the most part trust because they've been around forever.
Well, we can start with the granddaddies: Uniswap, Curve, places like that, Aave.
Yep.
Those are the big ones. But then for me, and some of them may be a little bit newer. If you go to places like Base, Aerodrome, or Aperture, Velodrome. Of course, we have to go with Beefy. They've been around forever. With great protocol. And I'm sure we'll be diving into most of those a little bit further later on. but those are the big Lindy names for me in DeFi currently.
Yeah, you can talk about other products too, like Yearn, for example, I think is a really good Lindy protocol. Compound is also a good one. MakerDAO. If we're on the Solana side, Radium has been around since the dawn
Forever.
of time at this point.
Yeah.
uh,
Jupiter.
Jupiter, obviously, these are Wormhole. These are all companies that have, rather properties that have been around forever. I mentioned
Chainlink.
Uniswap, yeah, Chainlink, yeah. These are examples of what we call Lindy properties. You're more apt to go with them, or at least in the news, go into protocols that feature that technology, because you would expect, especially in the case of all the ones we just talked about, they're going to do their due diligence in aligning their technology with products that aren't going to what we call rug, or be a total scam or a fraud project for most users, right? That's the main thing that we definitely want to make sure that we're not promoting. So we take our protocols specifically. While we do love things with asymmetric upside and being early to stuff like that, oftentimes with our community, we're not going to recommend something that's brand new. We'll wait and see, just because you never know. Human error in this space, even though smart contracts are everywhere, human error is still a very big part of making sure things are safe, which I think is the reason why, in my opinion, AI agents are going to lead within the next 12 to 18 months. A lot of the innovation that's going to be happening in this space, agentic workflows are going to be, part of the everyday in this space. Do you agree, Greg?
Oh, 100%. I really, I mean, I think AI is definitely going to be leading the way, especially once, as things develop further and it becomes smarter and smarter. Because then you take out the human error factor, which is the main reason why there's, oh my goodness, my brain is going away right now, but there's people hacking into things because human error, you forget a comma somewhere and someone sees that and boom, it could be a leak into the system.
Exactly. Yeah, and the key is to, when you're looking for your next favorite protocol, do the due diligence, right? Go with resources that we talk about all the time, because these are also Lindy properties that have been around forever and are created by people in our space. And probably that's the biggest key to all this, is to support crypto native projects. Yes, we're going to see a flood of major names coming into the space, major banks, major CEXs. They already have to a degree, right? Robinhood's coming with their quote unquote version of DeFi very soon. Coinbase has been doing it for years. Kraken has their own layer 2 in the OP superchain called Ink. They've been doing it for a minute. Even Sony, yes, the electronics company giant Sony has their own layer 2 blockchain called Sonium in the OP superchain. There are properties that are tied, here in the space, things you may not even realize. For example, on Avalanche, for example, Deloitte has a layer 1, technically it's a subnet, but they're technically all layer 1s in the AVAX ecosystem, where they work with FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Association, to help with disaster relief. It's kind of interesting that they use blockchain technology for claims and disbursements and stuff like that through there. So, yeah, you're going to see a lot more brands coming, but do support your crypto native builders, because they build great tools that you should be using. And we'll talk about the first one now. And that's something you talked about already, which is DeFi Llama. Fantastic property. DeFiLlama.com. And I'll work to get better graphics for this stuff on here, but we have some things we're talking about today. We'll put them in the notes specifically. But why is DeFi Llama great? It's built by a great developer named OXNGMI, longtime builder, and really just thought presence in this space. DeFi Llama has become, in a way, you could even say a bit of a source of truth in this space. Wouldn't you say, Greg, in terms of what they provide now?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. The amount of tools and resources that they have on their website are phenomenal.
Exactly.
I wouldn't be able to do half the things I did without DeFi Llama. honestly.
Ex-
It's
Absolutely true. I completely 100% unequivocally agree. What's great about DeFi Llama is that they have metrics on just about everything. And I know that my fat head is covering half of it. But on the left, we have metrics, tools, pricing, and custom dashboards. They also have a link to their old menu, which frankly is quite large and had a lot of things there. There's a lot of things at DeFi Llama we do recommend. The first that I'm going to recommend is the swap. And we talk about this quite a bit on our well, maybe it's not listed here anymore, but or it is, and it's just harder to find.
yeah, I usually just go to the link itself,
Yeah,
swap.defilama.com.
but there's two things that they're building. So one thing and again, shout out to Patrick Scott from Dynamo DeFi specifically for this, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But DeFi Llama Swap, we talk about this. We actually talked about it, I think, as recently as last Friday on our Beat the Banks community training. What's great about this is it's an aggregator of aggregators with regards to best route for your trade. And leave me a comment, guys. In the event that I am getting a little pixelated, I wonder if the Amazon outage has something to do with this, because we are using StreamYard, which is web-based. So we're actually late because I needed to reboot my entire setup, which took like 10 minutes, unfortunately. So what's great about DeFi Llama is that they have these great custom dashboards. Now, you can create your own, and I recommend that you do if you have the money to do so, to get into a pro subscription. There's Llama Swap right there. It's right there on the damn page. I should have just looked there. But there's a couple things that they have on here that's definitely worth looking into. One is DL News. One is the Llama feed, which is the ultimate crypto feed that I use on my Monday stream. But what's great about this is that you have the ability to look specifically at chain interactions, rather chain protocols. So we'll look at a couple of these here, right? So let's look at metrics. Chains. Maybe make this bigger because probably most people can't see this. There we go. And they're tracking 474 different chains, which is kind of crazy if you look at it. And what we basically look at this for is trying to figure out where's the big money going, because oftentimes that's a great indicator of understanding. So that's why DeFi Llama is fantastic. And to relate it to the theme of today's show, which is finding your next favorite protocol, the reason I like to look at DeFi Llama first is because you can go somewhere, for example, let's say Base. You can now get Base's numbers, get to see where they're at. By the way, this number is not completely accurate, but it is a number. You can definitely check out L2Beat if you're looking for it, or Grow the Pie, friends there that are there. But what I like to look at here are the protocol rankings. So if you're looking for a new protocol to check out, I like to go where there's a lot. 2 billion at Morpho now. Look at that.
Yeah,
My
I was going to
goodness,
say,
Greg.
Morpho has moved to number one.
Man. And there's a bunch of protocols here that I don't use very much, but good to see that they're starting to grow. But as you can see, the majority of the 5.1 billion, the number is actually closer to 17, by the way. Let's just show Grow the Pie, another great place to find good protocols. It is an Ethereum good, which I love. And right here, you can just see. Shout out to Tobias and crew there. Let's go by total value secured. That's the word, TVS. Base has 14 billion. Arbitrum is 18.3. I think the number is actually, they might be a lot closer than they really are. World Chain has almost 1 billion. Where is everybody on World Chain? I know Morpho is most of it, but where else is Celo? My goodness. What are you all doing on Celo? Someone tell me right now, why is there 376 million on Celo, which is more than Katana? It's more than Abstract. Tell me what you all are doing on Celo. I got to know. Please, let me know. All right. Anyway, I use the protocol rankings specifically when I'm looking at chains, to find out, what's the main DEX, what's the main place for me to go check out where I can put my funds. DeFi Llama is a fantastic place to do so. I will tell you, Solana has nearly tripled the amount of protocols they now have listed on DeFi Llama. And again, they have to be listed on DeFi Llama. They're not just going to pick up everyone. There's a whole API that people have to opt into. But with Solana, you can see that there's a lot more DeFi protocols. This was a much smaller amount about 12 months ago, Greg, right? I can really just literally count on like two hands the ones that I would actually go to, but it's good to see. I mean, in a world where Orca is number 10 on the list of Solana DeFi is pretty interesting. But all of these specific protocols are very, very much deserving to be in this. Wait, why is Binance staked Sol number 7? That doesn't count. Regardless, Liquid Stake Sol. Interesting that they put that in here. Maybe you can filter this. Regardless, this is where we normally go to check out everything. This, of course, doesn't do yields, but there is a way to check out yields. If you go to metrics and just check out yields, you can certainly check how to do that. I've had multiple workshops on how to actually navigate this. So that's outside the scope of what we're talking about today. So I'm not going to do that here. But yeah, before we move forward, your thoughts on DeFi Llama as one of your favorite sites to find your next favorite protocol, Greg?
That's usually the first place I start. In my normal routines, DeFi Llama is usually one of the first apps that I open on a daily basis.
Yep.
Go there, see where the money's flowing for that day, see if there's been any major changes in the last 24 hours, and see if there's anything that just piques my interest if I want to do some more research on. When I want to start finding new places, when my degen side starts to take control. DeFi Llama is a great place for all of that.
When my degen side just takes control.
It does. And
now I'm just like in this mode. If you can relate to that in the comments, give us a thumbs up or something, because I know Greg can't be the only one who has that degen side just take control and suddenly you're in this mode. But anyway, another site you can check out, and we don't talk about this site much, to be honest. And that's DeFi D.Fi, and apparently they are. It was here a second ago. There we go. And what's interesting is oftentimes you're looking for just additional places, and what we do with DeFi Llama, same here with this D.fi/explore page, is we would use it specifically for just a compass, right? Just pointing me in the right direction to where I can find additional pools, because I'm not going to go directly from this list, right? If I go here on APR and just literally do it by declining, we've got some pools I've never heard of before. Some at Uniswap v3, some at PancakeSwap with ridiculous numbers. Some of these I've never heard of before. Are they current? It's hard to say, but APRs aren't necessarily everything when we're looking at the quality of yield farming positions. So again, just a tool to find places. As you start doing this more and more, you can figure out the places you want to start. But the majority of these services, whether if you're using, at DeFi Llama, go back to chains, or if you're here on D.fi, you're really just looking for where is all of the activity happening. Because one thing I can tell you is that we've learned that high volume is good for yields. So with that said, there are a ton of apps that are out there. If they're really tracking 414 chains, we try and keep it between 5 and 7 blockchains at a max. Why? Analysis paralysis or decision fatigue is a real thing in this space, especially if you're looking to get into how to create what we call an all-weather portfolio, something that we have at our free group, which is a little segue. I guess we could do that right now. I didn't have myself doing that when we first started, but school.com/beacon. again, join our free group. If you like what you're listening to today, please, we would love a like, a follow, a subscribe, and then check out our free group, school.com/beacon. Learn with the best of the best. And we have a we have a briefing you can check out that's about a week old from last Saturday, where we talk about some new things we're offering. So check that out if you're curious. Again, we have a lot of free content here. Check out the Start Here post to get access to that. And if you want to get personal mentorship from me, learn more with Greg, all that great stuff, we have offerings for you to do that here at our website, Total Value Locked, school.com/beacon. Greg's a very successful trader, and he is a product of our system here at Total Value Lock. So look at that man's face. That's a man of success, a man who knows where he's going. So let's go ahead and talk about some of these protocols that we believe are some of the best out there that could possibly be your next favorite protocol. We're going to start with the granddaddy of them all, as you mentioned in the beginning. I mean, that's Uniswap. And the reason why Uniswap has morphed into one of the most important protocols in all of DeFi is because it gets the one thing that it was meant to do right, which is it's a decentralized exchange, meaning you can come here and trade assets one for another. Not trading like, taking long and short positions like with perps, but more like, I need USDC from ETH. You can absolutely do that from here at Uniswap. That is what it's meant to do. That's what it does well. And they do have some other services built on top of that in the protocol to help you do new things. But what's great about this is that as of, I think, middle of last year, they had a partnership with integration with Across Protocol, which now allows you to now swap between all of these blockchains, which is fantastic. Do what's called a cross-chain swap, which is like a bridge, except you're using all of Uniswap and Across's different liquidity pools to get you the best rate with the least amount of what we call slippage, or a tolerance between the price that you were quoted and the price that your order actually executes at. Normally they're very close, but slippage is a percentage tolerance, and normally it's like less than 1% on most things. But the newest part here is that you can go to Solana. And this is not something I thought I would ever see. Uniswap accessing liquidity on Solana? What version of this simulation are we in? But that's the beautiful thing about interoperability. That's kind of been the name of the game for the last 2 years. Groups like Polygon with AgLayer, Layer Zero with their whole infrastructure on how they do their interchain messaging. You have Axelar. You have a bunch of other groups also doing something very similar. You have groups like dBridge, Connext, other groups like that doing solvers and just trying to find the best routes, the best trades for you in all cases. Shout out to a bunch of different teams that do that, like CalSwap and others. But what's great is that we have the ability now in one interface to really just be multi-chain, which if you would have asked me about this 4 years ago, I would have said you were crazy. How are you going to do that? We were talking about the idea of doing an atomic swap being like the holy grail. And now we're in a situation where you just go to Uniswap and you can go from Polygon to Solana literally without having to buy a wrap token. I mean, times have really changed, right?
It's amazing. It's a beautiful process, and it makes things so much more seamless and easier. You know what I mean?
Yep.
We're definitely getting to the place to where eventually we're not even going to know what chain we're on, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's not going to matter.
Yeah. And
So
that's
it's going to be
be
all
great.
extracted from the user. But what's great about that is that they also have liquidity positions and multiple ways they do it. Since version 3, it's been concentrated liquidity, but it allows you to earn really great rates when you're going between two assets, especially if you're doing correlated assets or stablecoin assets. Very straightforward with regards to earning yield on these two assets. So what's great is that you're in a position where you can trade, a blue chip like ETH with a stablecoin and get a really good rate This is low at 11, to be quite honest, and this is probably a very, very wide range. But the ability to do this safely and securely at one of the largest, lindiest protocols in all of DeFi is very important. So that's what all of this great stuff that's been happening is great, and it's multi-chain. The only hard part with this and the upgrade is, and there's no really, I don't know if there's an easier way to go about it, but you don't know what blockchain you're on when you start here, right? So that's kind of the issue at first, is that for me, this is technically here on ETH mainnet. I have to go and choose the blockchain first. So if you're brand new to this, you might be a little confused. So if you go into our content and you follow that, I would recommend doing the swap at DeFi Llama, because you can easily choose which chain you want to be on and then get the aggregated view that you're looking for. So that's Uniswap, something that frankly neither Greg or I really use, to be honest, because Llama Swap is a thing, and the other thing that, bless them, I get it, they need to make money, but it's like if I need to do a swap between two assets, they charge if you use the Uniswap front end. Now, if you use the API around it, you don't got to pay. But if you're here on Uniswap and you're actually using it, you're paying for every swap. So keep that in mind. Of course, there are times where you don't have to pay. That is a given. But yeah, to see this Solana is now available badge at the bottom corner of Uniswap is, man,
Massive.
what a
It's
time!
massive.
What a time to be alive. So let's go and move on to the next thing. We quite a few of these properties, these positions, these places to get your next position are multi-chain, but we're going to start with certain blockchains first. Now, with regards to what we talk about in our community, we're all about volume, and that means that the first position we're going to talk about is on Base. That protocol is the biggest DEX on Base, and that is Aerodrome. Aerodrome is a fork of Velodrome, which is a meta DEX that uses what's called a VeNFT system, or vote escrow vested equity system, for how their flywheel works. Complex would be the word I would use if you don't know much about it. It can be difficult to get into what they do here, but you cannot deny the amount of yields that they're able to create as the largest DEX on their respective chains. In fact, that's the main reason that Aerodrome and Velodrome can do so well, is because they are the largest DEX on their respective blockchains, which helps build this inflow-outflow flywheel that keeps the stakers of VeAero at the middle. Not going to go too much into it, but Greg, if you want to go into the reason why this is one of your favorite protocols, please do.
I mean, I tend to find the best yields there. Their concentrated liquidity tools are easy for me to understand and for me to implement. It's quick. Granted, like you had said, if you are new, those yields can be a little bit misleading. But I am a 4-year staker into their program, their protocol, so which basically means that I have staked funds into their protocol for a max of 4 years, which gives me the max available yield as long as I'm staking my concentrated liquidity position as well. Which, I'll be frank, I don't normally do a lot because I like the native yield. I like to be able to get my rewards and whatever it is. Like right now, I'm farming ETH and USDC. So I'm getting my rewards and holding those, hoping that ETH goes up and those go up in value instead of compounding. But that's just the way I like to do it. It may not be the best play, but I have seen quite a bit of success doing that.
Man, the APR here for ETH USDC on the 1 tick concentrated is like 159, 235. That is 6 digits, guys, on that. It is
Yeah,
that is crazy town. Anything
my
above
current
9,000 will
position-
just get this badge.
Oh, well, hold on 1 second. I had my current position up, but it looks like it kicked me out for. I was earning, like earlier this morning, I was earning around 230%.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's a fairly, it's not a wide position, but it's not super narrow either. So like my range right now is around from 3,700 to 4,200, and
Yep.
I'm getting 293% on a non-stake position. So
Yeah, and one thing to note here, guys, is that they do, and you may not be able to see it here on the on the feed, but there's an ALM button here. That's going to be the center of what DeFi is now. So a lot of people come in, they're like, "Is DeFi worth it right now?" The answer is yes, because we have all of these tools for automation that are available to help you figure out what you want to do. So this ALM means automated liquidity management, because oftentimes when you're in a farm like this, and Greg's a more advanced farmer, so he wants more control over that, you may not have the time. You have a 9 to 5 job, you own multiple businesses, you want to be in a position where you don't have to babysit and watch this all the time, because you may not have the time or the resources to do so. You can choose their ALM, which will take care of all of that managing for you. You're going to earn a lower yield at around 203%, but it's still good. I mean, the fact you can get ETH and USDC and an automated thing and earn 203%. Now, of course, you have to lock in your arrow for that to get anywhere close to that rate, because of just how the flywheel works. But in general, people are like, well, is it worth locking it in for 4 years? Yes, because you get 100% of your value available to you. And they push out, like right now, this is the weekly epoch for it, $3 million in fees. That's all going back out to stakers. Now, the reason why Aerodrome, in my opinion, is the best VE NFT DEX in all of DeFi is a fairly obvious one. Base is Coinbase's blockchain. 2 years ago, Coinbase, a bunch of VCs, including Pantera, Paradigm, they all bought a truck ton of Arrow token to lock in for 4 years. So yes, they are controlling this narrative to a degree. So one thing we've also learned is wherever whales are, you can eat well there too. So that's the other reason why we like Aerodrome. In that same,
follow the
in
money.
that, what's that?
I said, follow the money.
Follow the money. In the same vein, another one we like to talk about is XtraFi. XtraFi is both a lending AMM and a leveraged farming protocol. One of our personal favorites. We definitely called the presence of this 18 months ago, at the very least, when we first saw it, because it reminded us of a really great protocol that we loved on Solana called Francium. And what this does, it allows you to take Aerodrome pools. It optimizes them and gives a facility to take leverage in both a long, short, and pseudo delta neutral fashion. Now, there's a whole flywheel to this too. We're not going to go into it, but this is one reason why we like this, is because we love the ability to get really good returns on assets that we are currently trying to farm, especially if you're trying to farm them at Aerodrome. You can do that, get that whole 4-year lock scheme, or you can just do it here and also get into the benefits without having to commit your Arrow token. So something to consider. Another thing we also talk about and we feature on our weekly Beacon Spotlight is here at the lending pools. Single-sided pools for supplying. This is daily auto compounding position. So if you hold VVV, which is Venice.ai, fantastic LLM in this space. Sind from Syndicate. You can pop it in here, or Veil, the privacy token, 121. Pop it in here. Just let it auto compound, and your supply grows, because it's being used as collateral for other farming options. It's also being used here in some of these pools. You're contributing to the profits and farming of other people by lending your collateral here in the lend section, and you're getting paid very well for it. That's the beauty of DeFi, right? There are multiple ways you can participate here, both as a lender, a supplier, as well as a borrower or farmer. And that's the beauty of leveraged farming. So very much an intermediate to advanced topic, something we talk about quite a bit in our mastermind. So if that's something you're interested in, come and talk to us. Another one, Morpho. Morpho is started out on ETH mainnet, then it moved to Base, where it definitely has its largest following, in my personal opinion. Ooh, fun.
That's cool.
I know, I like that. I'm such a squirrel. I'm like, ooh, shiny. But they're a lending network. Fun fact, if you go to Coinbase.com and you do a loan on Coinbase, they're actually taking it and getting you returns here from Morpho. So if you don't want to use Coinbase and give them your money, come and do it yourself. Self-custody here on Morpho and Base. And basically the way that it works is there are multiple farms in here. What is this? Oh, this is on mainnet. I was like, what is going on here? We need to be on Base. As you can see, Morpho has now moved onto multiple blockchains. It used to be just on ETH mainnet and Base. Now they're also on Arbitrum and all of these other chains here. And they also have what's called Morpho Lite, which allows you to go on different chains as well to get in. So if we go by APY here, it looks like the best one here is in a USDC pool. Stablecoins, 11%. These fluctuate based on multiple factors. Demand is the biggest one because what you're doing is by depositing USDC, you're providing as collateral for all of these different pools. And I've talked about this on our Friday call. But as you can see, the market exposure, it's being put in all of these different pools, and then the yield from those is being passed back to you. Now, there is, I believe, a performance fee, in this case, 5%, that they're going to charge on your profits, which for the most part, are you okay with? I know I am, only because of the convenience factor. One thing that Greg and I treasure as dads is time. Being able to come in, have these earning passively, that gives us more time to not worry about this and spend time with our families, whatever else we're doing out there. There is a time component to this that is really, honestly, really fairly elegant, right? I hear people all the time. I was on Twitter for 16 hours yesterday. And my answer to that is, why? Why? Because you're like the most amazing shit poster on the planet. I would like to do better things with my time, honestly. No disrespect to reply guys and reply gals out there. It's just one of these things where it's just like, if I'm trying to invest my money, I'm going to be very honest. There are a lot of people who are going to look at this and think that 11% is not high. Well, if you're just sitting there holding it, it's not going to do anything. So you might as well put it to work and have it earn something. 11's pretty good. We've seen much better. And we'll show you a little bit better in just a minute. But Morpho's a great spot.
Much worse.
Banks will give you way worse. My credit union gives me 0.05%. If I wanted higher, I have to put in $1 million. Mm-hmm. And then they're still making all that money. Why let them do that? You can do this yourself. So Morpho, really great spot. Provide collateral. They use it in all these different pools. And in many cases, they're cross-chain. So thanks to interoperability, all of this great stuff, you can get even better yields now in DeFi than you could 6 months ago even. We're going to jump over to Solana. And one of the largest DEX there, decentralized exchanges, is Jupiter. And Jupiter is more than just a decentralized exchange. They're a liquidity hub. They're a lending spot. They're a perps hub. They are now, you can have your portfolio there because they bought Sonar.watch. Jupiter is one of the largest properties building an ecosystem moat in this space. Uniswap is another. And you can even say that Morpho is one of those as well. I mean, the moment that Morpho comes out with their own wallet, then you can definitely do that. But Uniswap has their own wallet. Jupiter has their own wallet. They're looking to create a one-stop shop experience for anyone who comes in, to the point that they don't need to actually do anything more than stay within the ecosystem, right? Greg, this was listed on your list as well. Tell me a little bit about why you like Jupiter.
I mean, my favorite part about Jupiter is the swap tool. I mean, it's super seamless. It's usually where I go to make any kind of swaps on Solana.
It's fast now too.
It's fast. Its quotes are accurate. So in that regard, it's my favorite tool. I don't do a lot of perps trading or anything else on Jupiter. I'll be honest. I go other places for that, but it is a good place to find decent rates and see if they're available other places. Although I am a Jupe staker as well. And I also farm JLP a lot. Like, that is my number one go-to farm on Solana. is JLP.
You
I've
looking at
I've
this,
been holding
brother?
JLP for a couple of years now. Holy cow! When did that happen?
Exactly. I just looked at it too. I'm like,
Like 2 days ago, it was at like 18%.
JLP up to 245% on Jupiter Lens. That's with
Man, my
5.38
multiply
leverage.
position's loving that.
Yep. Good news. Yeah. And what he's talking about is what's called is called JLP. That's their perps liquidity backstop. You can earn JLP literally just by swapping for it. That's all you have to do. Currently 50% APY. It all goes into the actual value of the token. We've been in JLP since it was under $2. Seeing it at 550 is just a dream come true, right? Overall,
Yes.
it's a composable asset. You can use it at multiple places. And that's the great part about JLP. This is one that I recommend to everybody. If you're looking for something simple and you like Solana, you gotta like Jupe, you have to like JLP, because this index for their perps is practically 50% Sol. So if you're long on Sol, you should be long on JLP, because there's way too many good opportunities out there to do with it. We'll move on. Meteora, big MET airdrop on Thursday. Congrats to everybody who was able to get in on this. One thing that we love to do here specifically is with the DLMM and the DAM pools. DAMM. It's super slow today, but for me, I'm sure it's plenty fast. But we've got, it's interesting when they only quote you in 24-hour TVL and fees with the APR. So that's always fun. You're always going to find that liquidity to get in there. No, but Meteor is one of those great places. They're partnered, they're integrated very deeply with Jupiter, and one of my favorite protocols. Greg, what do you want to say about Meteor?
Oh man, I especially when I'm in my degen phase, like we talked about earlier, Meteora is my go-to place for farming LPs on Solana. The customizable aspects for your concentrated liquidity farms are out of this world. I can place my liquidity pretty much anywhere I want it, which is amazing.
Yep.
And now that you can have more than 69 bins, you can open up more than 69 bins with one click. Like, it's a game changer.
That is a game changer.
So
because we used to require 2 positions back in the day, but now you can just
or
customize
more, yeah.
that. Yeah, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. We'll keep going again. I apologize on how quickly, but we started fairly late due to my technical issues, so we're just trying to pack in as much value into this as possible. Sticking with Solana, we love Camino as well, Camino.com or Camino.finance. A lot of things to like about Camino. It's one of the largest AMMs in all now in all of Camino. I mean Solana. They have a lending thing much like Morpho, but they also have markets much like Aave, where you can go and you can supply assets, earn additional incentives, and then borrow whatever you like against it. So, for example, if you want to deposit Sol or even deposit CBBTC and then borrow USDC at 5.75% against it, and then just take that USDC and pop it into one of these lend pools where you can earn an additional, well, it looks like 10% is what you're looking at plus incentives. And these don't have any impermanent loss, which is great because they're stable coins and they're single-sided. So a lot of things to like about Camino. They've had a lot of great moments here. I mean, just seeing stable coins of near 10% or higher in some cases. This USDG high yield was at 1.26%. Just seeing the potential of what's out there. I mean, this is way better than what you're going to find anywhere else in traditional finance that you get direct access to. You don't have to go through some financial advisor or someone making a ton of commission off you. You deserve to get the right prices for your capital. And you can only get that here in DeFi. Your thoughts, Craig?
I think you froze. I don't know if you asked me something.
I did. I just wanted your thoughts on Camino.
Oh man, for those that do follow me, you will see that I am a big fan of Camino, especially their multiply tool. I'd actually did a like a 20-minute walkthrough last week on using the Camino and Multiply with JLP.
Ooh, look at that.
Yeah, and yeah, you'll see, and it's changed since the last time we talked about JLP. The PayPal USD is now has the most liquidity and the highest rate, which I thought was interesting that it's switched from USDC to the PayPal USD stable coin. As far as
I would still
liquidity
choose.
goes.
I would still choose. I would still choose the USDC market just because there's just so much liquidity available. It just has better for what is considered 5%, which frankly is just pennies overall. You just get a better, more stable market. That's just the way I look at it personally. Let's go ahead and move on. More cross-chain type things. The first is one of our longest friends in the space, and that's Beefy. Beefy, easiest place for me to recommend for just about anybody. The reason being they have a lot of these zappable pools, right? So if I go into stable coins, ooh, look at that today. 49% for USDC and DAI on Arbitrum. Look at that. That's interesting. But let's move down. Even just getting Canadian dollar, this is the Forex pool on Aerodrome on base for the Canadian dollar versus the USDC for roughly rounded up to about 20% in a CLM pool. This is concentrated liquidity management and ALM, just like we looked at Aerodrome. And what I love about this, doing it at Beefy, because it's an optimizer, you don't have to worry about staking Arrow to get the best rate. You literally can also just come in with anything that you have in your wallet, and it'll automatically swap in for you. So, for example, I have this. I just have some ETH in this wallet. They'll come through and they'll automatically swap it for you and deposit it in there for you. You can be in this position in less than a minute. And that's the beauty of what we call beefing in or zapping into a Beefy vault. They're one of the granddaddies. I'm a day one user of Beefy from back in the day. I remember when that was a long time ago. Yeah, I mean, to see where they've grown to, where they've continued to grow to be able to be in a situation where even if you're just playing long game with some of these interesting up and to the right characters. Is this current APY? There we go. COAI. We saw that. Is that? I forgot the name. Anyway, 11% daily APR on this thing with automated liquidity management. Again, I'm not going to go into the how, but the why is just like, do you like this asset? Is it going places? You can farm it long here, and you're going to get a lot of daily APR on it. So, does it work well? It can, especially if you're looking for if you have two assets that travel well together, like some of these BNB meme coins, like BNB Holder, 4% daily APR, and it's an auto compounding and auto rebalancing position. So, again, Beefy has come a long way. The original reason we liked Beefy was because it's an auto compounder, meaning that you literally set and you can forget for a little bit, just monitor. And that's the beauty of Beefy. It's available on, I think, 22 blockchains. And yeah, if they don't have Solana, it's all EVM with regards to Beefy, but it's hard to recommend against them, honestly. Your thoughts, Greg, before we move on?
And I love Beefy just for finding rates at the very minimum. If I was more of a hands-off user, Beefy would be my number one go-to, just because you can just set something there and forget about it for the most part. Obviously don't forget about your positions, but
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Don't forget about them, because sometimes vaults get retired when you don't realize it.
Right. And I mean, you can set it there and you know that it's going to stay rebalanced. You know that your stuff's going to be auto compounded right back into that pool. It's pretty much a hands-off system, and you can, like you said, you can zap in with any token that's in your wallet, and you can zap out too. So
that's true. You can zap out into any token you want to. So if you want to take your profits in BTC, if you want to take your profits in ETH, you want to take your profits in a stable coin, you can absolutely do that. As long as you just have to understand that the swap inside may or may not be advantageous to you. That's just something to consider. We'll go ahead and move on to another multi-chain property, and that's Pendle. Pendle has two great things going for it. First, the original app, which is you being able to speculate on yield. I know that sounds weird, but Boros is brand new. This is quote unquote their bolt on for V3. Oh, they have USDT collateral now. But the idea of it is, oh, this is collateral. The idea is that you're able to speculate on funding rates, which is a really interesting idea for how for people that are trading rates on margin. So something to consider. It's definitely a more advanced topic. Most people I know like to go into the V2, and we go on fixed APYs across multiple blockchains. Because for example, this SUSDAI stablecoin, 148 days. As long as I hold to that date, I'll get 21%, if not better, by the time that comes around. You can speculate on the fixed principal token, their value within a certain amount of time, or their yield within that same time. Not going to walk into it too much because it's one that we recommend a lot within our groups, and you can go get that content there. We're going to go to Euler as the lending super app. Fantastic spot. This is probably the protocol we recommend the most right now. The rates there are just too good. Hard to deny. Another one I want to talk about, met this group this year at Denver and ETH Denver, that is DeFi Saver. Another optimization app. They specialize in having automated yield management would be the word I would use amongst multiple fixed protocols that they curate themselves. So that's what's really cool about DeFi Saver specifically. Did I really put money in here a while ago? I must have, because I don't remember.
Talking about forgetting about positions.
Yeah. I mean, this has had to have been in here for 8-9 months. But I'm not in any positions. The money is just there. But I mean, the protocols you have here, you have Fluid, you have Morpho, you have Aave, and they're just different things you can do specifically, right? They have different tools. You can do loaning, loan strategies. You can create your own recipe, I guess. Interesting. The composability and flash loans to create all kinds of different. Look at that. Pre-made recipes. Leverage Coinbase ETH and ETH using Aave V3.
Oh.
Tell me more. It doesn't say what the APR is, unfortunately. Oh, net APY. Okay. Yes, I know that. Net APY is 3.5%. Okay. Well, it's ETH correlated. So if you're looking for something to do with your ETH where you can just literally come in and just set and forget for a while, this is a good one. Good group at DeFi Saver. Really good team. Very smart. Last one we'll talk about are the ones at Avalanche. Very hot chain right now. Greg, you like the old Trader Joe, now called Let's Effing Joe. Talk to me about LFJ.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest. When I said I like them, they were a protocol I used to use a long time ago. I haven't been doing a lot on Avalanche. I've been, other than Euler. I do have an Euler position on Avalanche, but I haven't been doing a lot of farming on Avalanche, and I probably should look into it more. I know that they have changed their branding, but I haven't really used it since then. So I would be lying if I said anything about them, and I don't want to mislead anyone.
No, you're fine. You should put it on the sheet, so I should talk about them first. They've undergone some changes for sure at LFJ. Overall, they're basically the creator of the liquidity book strategy, which is what Meteora has now. It's the ability to customize your concentrated liquidity positions within specific ranges, and it's really fascinating how it works. We've written a couple guides on it recently, and I didn't realize it was that unique because the way that Uniswap works, you have concentrated liquidity, which means you're providing liquidity between two assets in a specific price range. So, for example, as you mentioned, for like ETH USDC, you're only going to provide your liquidity from like 3,500 and 4,500, that price range where ETH is. Regular V2 was providing across the entire price range between the two assets. But concentrated liquidity means you can actually just provide it in certain parts of that curve. What's great about LFJ with Liquidity Book is that you can actually determine the number of bins or how wide that position is for catching fees, because all you're doing is really just providing liquidity. You get a piece of the swaps between the two assets. That's all you're doing. That's the basic premise of concentrated liquidity. And they have extra rewards here, which for a lot of equities traders, a lot of TradFi people, they really like this model because it resembles a lot of what they're used to in specifically with what on earth is this? Look at that. So this is XAUT0 and USDT. For those who don't know, XAUT0, this is Tether's gold stablecoin, a stablecoin backed by gold. And then there's USDT, which is their stablecoin. This interesting pool right here is earning a 24-hour APR of 1,202. Anyway, we're not going to go into the depths of what that means, but I'm just like, oh, and there's rewards on the back side. So there's the way that it works is that they have what's also called a reward bin. So if you're within that range, you earn extra rewards. They're dropping an extra 15 AVAX per day. So, and they have leaderboards as well. So in the event that you are part of the most active people in there over a specific period, you'll get an additional incentive. So that's the reason why LFJ is interesting. One to certainly consider. Pharaoh is the other. This is a velodrome, aerodrome like system from a group called the Ramses Group. They have multiple properties across multiple blockchains that work very similarly. You have your vote escrow token. You can vote for additional incentives, but you can come in here and check out your liquidity. Now, it's not 4 years like Aerodrome and Velodrome, but there is a little bit of a time lock that you have to commit to get the most or take a haircut on rewards. So something to consider. There's this and Black Hole. Those are the two biggest ones right now. I see a case for both, but I think overall Pharaoh just seems to have a little bit better reward structure currently than Black Hole does. Black Hole definitely has big names behind it, with Elio Trades and Alex Becker being part of the team that founded it. So they definitely know how to drive volume to it. But Pharaoh, I think, still has a better reward structure overall. Anyway, not financial advice. Do your own research on these things. And we've pretty much, we're a bit over time, but we started late. Again, if you like what you're hearing, please like, follow, subscribe. Would love to have you in our free community, Total Value Locked. Check out our Start Here post. Check out our most recent emergency crypto briefing. Come in and lean on us as resources. We've helped tens of thousands of people get onboarded into DeFi in the last almost 5 years now. And our job is to, help educate the world on the beauty of what DeFi is. And again, our free group, completely free to join. That's at school.com/beacon. You can check us out tomorrow for our flagship podcast called Total Value Locked. The TVL show is at 1 p.m. Eastern on our socials, just like you're viewing us now today. We've been doing that show since December of 2021. What we do with that show is we have panels on and we talk about the week's news. And then we educate you on that, along with introducing you to new protocols, like we do on this call when we have guests on from time to time. But yeah, thanks, Greg, for being here, brother. Anything you want to close with?
No, not that I could think of. Give us all a follow, a like. Also catch Chris's free trainings on Fridays where you learn how to use all these protocols we talked about. It's a great show. It's where before I was a community leader with Beacon, it's where I got a lot of information from. And still do, honestly. I'm still an active watcher of all your shows. So
thank you, sir. Yeah, that is Beat the Banks. That is our community show on Fridays at 3 p.m. Eastern. So looking forward to seeing you guys then. Until then, thanks for joining us today. It's been a fun little show. We haven't really talked about stuff like this, so it's refreshing for us to actually have a chance to do that. So thanks for being here today. Thanks to everybody who's commenting on our different platforms. And we'll see you tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern on the same social channels. 07, as we say here, beacons up, banks down. Take care, everybody. Have a great day.